Before we begin, we would like to extend our deepest sympathies to the family and loved ones of the victim in this case, Kendy Howard. Divorce can be heartbreaking for some couples, but for one 48-year-old Idaho woman who tried to make her marriage work for more than half her life, divorce wasn't an ending she was dreading. After 27 years, Kendy Howard was ready to move on. Her family and friends said that she was so elated about the decision that she was practically giddy about starting the next stage of her life. She was planning for a bright new future, one that did not include Daniel Howard. Kendy was a bubbly, outgoing person who loved the outdoors. She was the mother of 2 children, a daughter from a previous relationship, and a son she shared with Dan Howard. The couple lived in Athol, Idaho, a community that is part of the Coeur d'Alene metropolitan area. Kendy was taking concrete action to break ties with Dan Howard, a former Idaho state trooper who was jealous and controlling. She had recently made an offer on a house in Kamaya, Idaho, 176 miles away from Athol. That's where she rekindled a relationship with her high school sweetheart, Daniel Pardo. She had given notice at a company she worked for 20 years. Her dream was to open an antique store. But as the conclusion of the Howards' divorce grew near, tension between Kendy and Dan was reaching a breaking point. In the early morning hours of January 29, 2021, just 4 days before her death, Kendy made a distress call to her new boyfriend. She didn't speak to him directly, but left the line open so he could hear what was happening. He would later testify at Dan Howard's trial that Kendy was distraught and emotional, and he heard sounds of thuds in the background. He hung up and called Kendy's parents, who called 911.
Dispatch, this is...
Yes. I had a call from my daughter, Kendy Howard.
Okay.
She called in a panic, and I know her husband just got home from Alaska, and they're getting a divorce, and it didn't sound very good out there.
Tell me exactly what happened.
We was in bed, and my wife just got a phone call from a and here I'll let you tell about.
I got a call from a friend that she called him, and she's in a panic and then hung up, and I've been trying to call her, and she won't answer. She's had trouble with him before. Dan Howard, they've been there before.
Okay. Are you at that location now?
No, I think.
Okay.
And I got a call from a friend.
Were there any weapons involved?
I don't know if he has weapons. He's been there before because he pretended to like that, he'll kill you, but take you with him before he does that. She just called her friend that was in a panic, and then the phone hung up.
Take a second, just call me. Hello? Hello? Access? It's access? Yes. The cops are on the way. The cops are on the way. Okay. Okay. Stay on the line with your dad. Stay on the line with your dad.
Okay, she's calling me. She's in a panic. She has the dad sick. That's a son. She needs help.
Okay. Is she saying what's going on?
Pardon? No.
Is she saying what's going on?
No, because he's there listening. That's why she said this. And she's crying.
Okay.
It's crazy. I told her it's not freaking...
Okay. All right. Do you think it's been physical?
Yes.
Okay.
You guys were there last summer because he pretended to commit.
Okay. Okay. Hold on just 1 second. What's the matter? Where are you at? Okay, take it deep for me. Take it deep. Come on. I need you here. Okay?
Yeah, so just so you know, we're 69. This guy that we're going to, retired ISP. Yeah, but he's super volatile. He's torched off rounds. He's done all kinds of shit. So we're waiting for all of us to get here to go in and be aware that it could turn into something major. Wait with him.
Get butts?
Now that's a 911 call of former Idaho State Trooper Dan Howard. Called 911 from his home in Athol, Idaho on the night of February the 2nd, 2021. He was crying so much that it was hard to understand what he was saying. My wife, she shot herself. Dan Howard told the operator, she's in the bathtub, dead. I go upstairs and she's dead. She's dead. She's gray. She has no pulse, nothing. She's cold. Now, when this video just came on, you saw briefly some of the body cam footage after he called 911, and I will go back to that shortly. Dan Howard later told authorities that he had been downstairs and heard something hitting the floor upstairs. Dan said that when he went upstairs over an hour later, he found his wife of 26 years, Kendy Howard, in a bathtub filled with water with a gunshot wound to her head. Kootenai County Sheriff's Deputy Miranda Thomas was one of the first responders to arrive at the Howard's home that night. Thomas later described how Dan was screaming, yelling, and asking us for help, sobbing, gagging, just overall kind of freaking out. Also on the scene that night was Kootenai County Sheriff's Detective Jerry Northrup. Now, Northrup confirmed the 911 call was dispatched as a suicide, but recounts that it did not take long for the team to grow suspicious. For a woman to shoot herself in the tub nude is unusual, said Northrup. It doesn't mean it can't happen. It just means that it's unusual. There was also other evidence at the scene that stuck out to investigators. According to Northrup, there were broken glass found in the primary bedroom and Kendy Howard's clothing thrown on the floor. There were wet towels behind the bathroom door, and when investigators first arrived at the scene, they reported that the water in the tub was still warm to the touch. Thomas noticed a packed duffel bag filled with women's clothing lay at the bottom of the stairs, and that the shirt Dan Howard was wearing seemed to have fresh deodorant stains. Now, they were going through a divorce, so in my opinion, I think Kendy was packing a bag and she was about to exit the home. Now, that's just a basic rundown on some of the story. Now, I'm going to go back to this body cam video and let them tell us else what's going on.
Send in medical.
Got that?
Yep.
Do you have anything?
No heartbeat.
Lucidity?
Not seeing anything. The medical's going to disturb your sleep.
Oh, please, no.
Hi guys.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
I honestly haven't seen it. I know what you.
No. Please don't tell me it's gonna go away.
Hi sir. Good, how are you?
Oh, please.
Yeah, it seems like good old Danny boy is being very performative right now. You know, putting on a show, trying to show his emotions. But I think these investigators, a lot of them have so much experience they can see right through that stuff. And you would think with him being a former police officer that he would understand that they can catch on to that. And I think apparently they said that there were no signs of tears because if you're going through something like that, a traumatic experience like that, those tears and everything would just be natural. You don't have to try that hard. So this pretty much looks performative. But you know, going through divorces, you gotta split up all your assets. And you know, apparently they were together for what, 20, 30 years. It's a tough time, especially when the woman, when she found somebody else and she's moving on. That's not going to be easy for him to deal with. But you got to figure out a way to be a man and just deal with it. Even for women. You can't just blow your top and just lash out and want to harm somebody. That's never going to work. Back to this footage here.
I don't think medical tell me she dead. I don't think so. Do we want to tell him or do you want to wait? You better tell him. Okay, I got it. Actually, you know what? You haven't done all. Let's tell him. Okay.
Before I take pictures?
Yeah. Okay. What's his name? Dan. Thank you. Dan.
Yeah, about every day. Well, it's just, she's so emotional. She tells us, well, we should split up. And I'd agree with her. And she'd go the other way.
How long has this been going on?
This hitch, last hitch, we're pretty distant, you know. I knew something was up, but
Last month,
yeah, whatever that turned out to be, yeah, pretty distant.
do you suspect she was cheating on you again?
I asked her that. I asked her that to give me closure, because, you know, that would be it. But she said she hadn't been.
You believe it?
Man, her behavior, I don't know. It just doesn't add up. Okay? Okay?
What does it add up?
She's behaving the same way she was before. And, you know, before we made it go, that was pretty good. And, when she said she didn't want a divorce, or she does want a divorce, it changed about every other day. Money on a house when I was up on the slope down there. Texted me once that she was going to go see an attorney. She saw the attorney a day before I got in, and then she had those papers. And I tried to talk her out of it. Let's talk first. Well, she didn't. And so, since I've been here, we've been just going back and forth. You want to make it work? Okay, I'll encourage you to make it work. If you don't want to make it work, I'm encouraging you to still make it work. I couldn't see throwing 27 years away. But then, you know, I'm the one that filled out the papers, and I'll give her what she wants, if that's what she wants. And then she will do everything 50-50, okay. That includes the flipping house down there. I wish I would. Wait.
So obviously you're wanting to make things work here, and she's.
I'm trying to encourage her.
And she's telling you, you're not hearing me, I want the house and to change.
Okay.
I feel out of love, that breaks my heart, I'm hurting you.
Yeah. And then she'll come back and go, well, I'm not sure if I want the divorce. I'll let that count.
Because I gotta tell you, that phone call puts chills down my my spine.
Now, apparently, Dan just received a phone call from his stepdaughter, and she was yelling and screaming on the phone, accusing him of killing her mother. And she was screaming and yelling so loud that the investigators heard the conversation across the room. And this is immediately right after the phone call. Now they're confronting him about that phone call and their suspicions.
Down my spine.
How many people?
You did it, didn't you?
No, I didn't.
I didn't think so, but now, after listening to that, I think you did, didn't you?
How the hell, she doesn't know. She wasn't here. She knows what,
Well,
whether she knows that there's a divorce going
What
on.
does she know? She knows something. She wouldn't have reacted the way she did.
Well, I don't know what it is.
Mother, she obviously had concerns if that was her knee jerk.
Okay, well.
You understand where we're coming from?
Because I had talked to my daughter about that. You think all you want.
I think you did.
No, I didn't.
One of the more intriguing clues, says investigators, was a load of laundry mid-cycle in the dryer. Thomas took note. A washer or dryer doesn't run very long, 45 minutes, maybe an hour. So when was this washer and dryer started? Northrup, the investigator, had the same thought and recorded the time left on the dryer cycle, 6 minutes. He told Van Sant how he pulled up the cycle running times from the manufacturer's website and compared the information against the time at which the 911 call was placed. Northrup determined that the dryer cycle would have started at 10:42 p.m. and the 911 call came in at 10:43, a minute later. Meaning, says Northrup, Howard started the laundry cycle about a minute before calling 911. But why? Investigators continued digging, and after reviewing the evidence with medical and scientific experts, came up with a theory as to how Dan Howard could have killed his wife. Dan Howard was arrested in April 2023, and in March 24 went to trial. Dan Howard was arrested in April 2023, and in March 2024 went on trial for the murder of his wife. And this is what happened in court.
Howard then removed Kendy's clothing and carried her lifeless body into the bathroom, where he filled the bathtub, put the gun in her mouth, and pulled the trigger. The gun was found in the water with her. The bullet had a downward trajectory, but self-inflicted gunshot wounds usually have an upward or horizontal trajectory. And there wasn't much blood at the scene, further supporting the theory that the wound occurred after death. It wasn't until 2 years after Kendy died that Dan was charged. He was arrested at the Spokane International Airport for breaking the conditions of his release that prohibited him from going within 2 miles of the airport. Was convicted of second-degree murder and domestic battery. At his sentencing hearing, he continued to deny that he had killed his wife.
I stand before you, shell of a man I used to be. Hell, I don't even have a shell left. My wife took her life. My will to live went down significantly. And when the jury found me guilty of crimes I didn't commit, it went down even further.
The judge cited a combination of factors that drove Daniel Howard to kill Kendy, including jealousy, greed, pride, anger, and revenge. He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole for the murder, and received an additional 10-year sentence for domestic battery that will run concurrently.